giving us a good view of that tornado warned storm as it passes by just to the north of Uptown, moving over 485. And I'm just getting a new radar scan in here as I'm looking at this picture, trying to look at radar truth and what we're seeing there on our tower cam. I'm not seeing any signs of a funnel cloud or anything. I think we're still a little bit further to the east than where that storm is, but not showing any immediate signs. And over the last couple of radar scans as well, we'll just go back and kind of show you. These do have a tendency of happening very, very quickly. So they spin up, and you can see as this moves a little bit closer to North Lake Mall, really just seeing that area of rotation diminish. We're also very close to the radar. You can see that little dome there just to the south of west of that 485 sign. So as we get closer to the radar beam is actually at an elevation of about a half a degree. And as we get further away from the radar, we're looking up into the higher levels of the atmosphere. But with this being so close to the radar, we're getting a good view at really just a couple of 100 feet off of the ground where that area of rotation would be. And you can see our sweep going by, and we'll get another update from this velocity data. Another good thing with this radar, this is the terminal Doppler radar. We get scans very frequently with this. So as you know, it makes its round every 30, 45 seconds, even a minute, we get a new scan, and that is a very good indication of what we're seeing and how quickly these storms form, how that area of rotation just happens so quickly. That helps us out a lot and helps the National Weather Service out looking for that area of rotation in that couplet. Now, as we move back up toward the China Grove storm, moving along 152, 153, moving off to the east toward 85. If you know somebody traveling north on 85, typically this time of day, tell them to just hold off. We got a very significant storm moving through that area. So I'm going to jump back to radar and just kind of show you what we're seeing with this storm and how much lightning we have. Very, very intense storm with this, and all of that lightning data. And let's go ahead and just query this. It'll give you a good picture of just how electric this storm is. So just in that red box, looking at 854 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. So if you are in this storm, you know it, and it'll move pretty quickly. It's moving off to the east about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So let's just time this whole storm out. Now, we do have a couple embedded areas of circulation that will be possible over the next couple of hours. But as far as areas that we are concerned with, Concord around 5:30, Locust around 5:47, Albemarle around 5:56, and Norwood around 6:07. So these storms are moving very quickly, and they're going to move out of your area very quickly, but could do quite a bit of damage before it moves through. Rachel, let's get another update from you and see what you're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking through some of the chat here and just trying to pick up on all of the reports that are coming in. There are a lot of reports and even just power outages, which goes to show how many reports there are. There's about 41,000 without power now, customers without power in our area. And this is why you see the strong line of storms that continues to work off towards the east. I wanted to zoom out and give you the big picture because we have 2 tornado warnings on the map. If you're just now tuning in, the time now is 5:17. That tornado warning includes northern portions of Mecklenburg County and Cabarrus County. We also have that southwestern sliver of Rowan County that's still included in a tornado warning. But we also have severe thunderstorm warnings, and this is one of those days where you're going to want to treat every warning, whether it's a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, as a tornado warning. Move inside, lowermost part of your home, innermost part of your home, and get away from windows because trees are getting knocked down by these storms big time. They've had the capability of producing wind gusts over 70 to 80 miles per hour, so hurricane force winds as they work towards the east. And our entire area is either included along and north of I-40 in a tornado watch until 9 o'clock, and then along and south of I-40 in a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock with our southeastern counties until midnight. You'll likely see those watches end a little bit earlier than that since this does include the Raleigh and Fayetteville area as well. But all of us need to make sure that we can hear and respond to warnings and also have multiple ways to hear warnings. Charge those devices, and here's why. Tornado warnings in place. So there's still 2 in place at this time. This one that was initially issued for Iredell and Rowan County, we were right with you as it started at 5 o'clock. This is going to expire here in the next 12 minutes for Rowan County, and then we have Cabarrus and Mecklenburg County. That's going to go until 6 o'clock. We still have about 40 minutes left on that warning, and there's all that lightning that Eric was talking about. That alone should make sure that we are getting sent inside, make sure that you are inside and away from any windows. And you'll notice here all of that heavy rainfall that continues to impact the area out that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this a little bit south here and just take a look as I loop this back through time. It looks like there was almost a little bit of a hook echo there just in between Huntersville and the North Lake Mall. Not seeing that as much right now. Let me flip this over to velocity real quick and we'll take a look at what this looks like. And at this point, it looks like just some really strong winds. So even if this isn't producing a tornado right now, likely strong, if not damaging wind gusts in between 485 down towards I-77 into the eastward. So the University City area, this is going to be something that you'll want to pay attention to. If you've got some kids or any family that lives out towards UNC Charlotte, out towards the Charlotte Motor Speedway, just to the south of Cox Mill, these are areas that you're going to want to pay attention to. Harrisburg as well, we're still seeing some of these issues. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here, take you street level to where, and really kind of lead you out ahead just a little bit. So it looks like Claude Freeman Road, you're going to see impacts from this next. Mallard Creek Road, and then David Taylor Drive. Notice how Norcroft Drive just started to see in that latest scan some really strong wind gusts. Once you're starting to see those lighter shades of pink, that's just indicating that potential for those strongest of winds. This is going to cross over I-85 and then eventually 485 and 29 out towards the University City area. And let me just show you, just for perspective, what these storms have been capable of. Just looking at some of those local storm reports across the area, and I would imagine that this isn't even a quarter of all of those storms, the storm damage reports that we have across the area. And this is why we have crews out right now trying to navigate where the storm damage is and try to get those reports to you to give you an example of the extent of the damage that we're seeing. I'm hearing that we've got our crews with Nikki, and you said, where was Nikki at? She is in Newton, so I would love to toss things over to Nikki and see what she's seeing.
Right, I am in Newton right now, and you can see what I'm seeing out here. We've seen in the last couple of hours, really all of it: lightning, thunder, trees falling down. We've seen really close to the road that we're driving on right now, cops actually coming out to cut off some of the roads because those trees are down. We've seen a lot of debris and branches on the roads. And another actually heartwarming thing that I've seen while we've been seeing all of these conditions, there was also someone who got out of their car to move that branch, move some of the trees so that they could clear a traffic jam. But that is what we're seeing out here, those traffic jams that are happening because so many trees are continuing to drop down. So we will be, of course, on your side as we're monitoring all of these conditions, but I'm going to toss it back to you guys so you can tell us more.
Nikki Hauser live in Storm 3 tonight. Oh, our lights just flickered here in the studio. You guys couldn't see that because we weren't live, but Molly Grantham and Jamie Bull both here for your 5 o'clock news. And you can see this video from Morganton, a name that you're familiar with, Steve Onisword, a former retired reporter, has shot this video and sent it in to us. Once you're part of the BTV family, you're always a part of the BTV family. And this video, again, from Morganton, you can look at the sky, the dark gray, the lightning, and Jamie, that looks nasty.
It really does. Let's go down just a little bit from there to Hickory, and you can see some of the heavy rain, cars flying through that water and just spreading that water everywhere right now. It has been coming down in buckets in place, lightning certainly causing trouble. Basically, if you could draw a line sort of from Hickory down through Newton, Conover, and then over to the Mooresville area. That is where we are seeing certainly the most power outages right now. Live picture from Lake Norman as well. Heavy rain there as well, but thousands of people, as Rachel has mentioned a couple of times here, without power right now as these high winds have moved through. Also the lightning, real dangerous right now. I'm seeing some reports, Molly, from the Conover Fire Department. They're responding to some fires, some trees on fire. One would suspect perhaps those are lightning strikes.
And when you see some of the wind blowing and then you see these tall masts and these boats, and what is that, a few hundred boats at Lake Norman, these are live pictures. And you just remember and you realize, if you're watching from the comfort of your home right now, how many things are susceptible to tornadoes and to strong, severe thunderstorm warnings. Because as Rachel said, today is one of those days you want to take everything seriously, not just the tornado warnings. You also want to take the severe thunderstorm warnings just as seriously. Rachel is live again in our First Alert Weather Center. And Rachel, you're really doing a good job at tracking all this for us. What is the latest you have with the radar where you are?
Yeah, and there's a couple of things to note here. One is that we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that now includes the rest of Mecklenburg County, out to include Matthews and then even northern portions of York County. And in fact, because we just got this warning issued, why don't we go ahead and take you to tower camera and show you what we're seeing from our vantage point. So this is looking east towards uptown Charlotte, and you can see the leading edge of this pushing overhead, and that's why it looks like dark skies, gloomy conditions. So if you're in the Charlotte metro and you're listening in, I know we're in a busy time of night. This is a commute time, dinner time. I would make sure that we're staying off the roadways and getting to the innermost part of your home and away from any windows. And I say that as well because I'm watching these really strong winds that are continuing to push south and east through where we have this tornado warning that remains in place, but also where we have this newly issued severe thunderstorm warning, which I think is a good call. And here's why. Those winds can produce tree damage, power lines could go out, so make sure those devices are charged up, that you have multiple ways to hear warnings so you can respond to them and go ahead and get to shelter. So East Charlotte, 525 here just in the next minute or so. Myers Park going to be around the same time. South Park, 528, you can anticipate the leading edge of the strongest of winds out towards Rocky River, looking at about 532, and 535 out towards the community of Matthews. And I do want to zoom in a little bit more as well. Let's take you back up to where we have this tornado warning in place for portions of Rowan County, and you'll notice here as I flip radar back on, it looks like, and this is what is showing you the rain, how heavy the rainfall is, where we have all of that lightning as well. And all of Rowan County included in a severe thunderstorm warning. And then we still do have this tornado warning here for just the next 5 minutes or so. So as I look here at velocity and trying to see if we have any rotation, where we have that biggest concern at this time, that's going to be just to the south and west of Shoopings Mill. This is going to be traveling east and between China Grove and Rockwell. So please make sure that you are still taking shelter at this time. Even if you're in Craven out towards Rockwell, make sure you're in shelter because you have that newly issued severe thunderstorm warning for your area. There's a lot going on across the region right now. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings. We've got tornado warnings that are going to continue to make their way to the east. Our entire area under a tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch. I'm going to show you tower cam one more time, and you can see the leading edge of this just continues to move overhead. Such an ominous view, and look at the winds knocking around our tower camera as well. We've got meteorologist Eric Garlick with us. I know he's been taking a look at some of these storms. I saw on his screen there how much lightning we had, but we still do have that tornado warning. Eric, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Rachel, the good news is not seeing much on the way of rotation on velocity data with this storm, but it doesn't mean that it can't change in really a split second. This is a very dangerous storm, very difficult to get out ahead of these little areas of rotation that are working through. But these tornado warnings, we still have two of them, one just north of Kannapolis and one that does include Concord and is just south of Kannapolis. But moving through the University City area, getting reports of a pretty bad storm moving through that area, and I'm not surprised. So outside of that tornado warning, winds 70 miles per hour estimated. So that is that's a lower end tornado, but can do the same amount of damage as that EF0, EF1 tornado with these winds as high as they are right now. And that is something that we are going to be very concerned with as these continue to move off to the south and east. They're moving very quickly. As we told you, these will be moving through right about 5 o'clock. And let's put a estimated time of arrival on this as it dives off to the south and east. So again, moving at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Albemarle around 549. Troy around 608. New severe thunderstorm warning just issued. You can see it there in that yellow. That does include Albemarle. Rockingham around 632. Wadesboro 616. Pinehurst down the line a little bit 640. So these storms are going to hold together and continue to move that direction. So let's clear this off and we'll talk about that new warning that was just issued. Severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches issued, as well as severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings as well. Let's jump back up to tower cam and show you that storm moving through. And that's the area that we would be seeing that area of rotation on radar. With our velocity data showing that couplet as it moved right through North Mecklenburg County and continuing to move off to the east. I'm not seeing any funnel clouds or any signs of rapid rotation with this image as it moves through Uptown. Can we widen out on that a little bit and just kind of show you the whole scope of that storm? Yeah, so you can see the very heavy rainfall on the left-hand side of your screen. That's looking north. And this storm is capable of producing those winds up to 65 or even 70 miles an hour. So getting a great picture right into where that tornado warning would be. And you can see, okay, on the left-hand side of your screen there, it looks like that could be that area of rotation, a little bit of a wall cloud feature trying to form there behind that gust front. And that's going to be right in that area of rotation and where that couplet is on radar. Rachel, is your mic up? Can you see this? What are you seeing with that little feature there? Can you see what I'm looking at?
Yeah, I do see what you're looking at here. Either way, I'm trying to look at velocity while we're looking at it.
Yeah,
either way, I mean, we've got some really, really strong winds with that.
Yeah, that area of rotation is just to the north and east of 485 right now, and that's going to be right at the center of your screen. And you can see how quickly those clouds are moving. That is looking right into the teeth of where that couplet is showing up on velocity data. So if anything were to happen, let's just stay on this. This is going to give us better ground truth than what that radar is showing as the storm continues to move off to the east. As we get new radar scans, we're looking at that in the background. But this is definitely going to be the best image to tell us if there is a tornado or not. And yeah, it definitely appears like there's some rotation in there. No lowering. Good news, but this is a very, very volatile storm. Yeah, just keep it right there and just kind of show that area of rotation as it passes just to the north of Uptown, moving just over 485 now, moving off to the east. So some pretty, say that again? Okay, yeah, if we want to take a look at radar real quick, just kind of, can we do both? Can we keep radar and tower cam? Okay, but yeah, so this is the area of rotation right there. 485, Robinson Church Road, moving over toward Hickory Ridge Road, Rocky River Road. This is starting to be a little bit more concerning as well.
Yeah,
the other tornado warning that we did.
Definitely make sure that you're going inside and away from any windows.
Yeah, yeah. Get inside. Don't try to get out and look at it. We got a good view from tower cam showing that move right over Robinson Church Road. And again, kind of looking at tower cam and looking at that, we should see a lowering if there was anything on there. You would definitely see it. If you want to try and zoom in just past, like right on the center of your screen right now. Yeah, I think that is the area that I would be concerned with in trying to see an area of rotation. But I'm not seeing anything right at this point.
And just a side note, as we continue to watch this, we continue to get reports, and it looks like there's several reports of power lines that are down on roads. So it looks like on the 2700 block of Hart Road in Charlotte, it looks like there's power lines down on the road there. In Charlotte off of Pensfold Drive, seeing reports of a tree on a home. We've got another, looks like tree blocking the entire road on Hunts Bridge Road at Chapman Road and Fountain Inn. We've got St. Mark's Church Road in Lincoln County that's currently shut down due to live power lines on the roadway as well. So guys, honestly, you know, if you just had those storms roll through, even if the worst of it's out of the area, make sure that you're avoiding traveling if you can, because and certainly avoid where we have those trees down, power lines. Do be extra vigilant tonight as we continue to see those crews having to clean up the trees, having to clean up the power lines from these storms that have been so destructive so far. The amount of reports that we've seen so far within this storm has been so impressive, and we continue to track the strong storms and severe and tornado warned storms as they work off towards the east. So if we have a tornado within this tornado warning polygon that is now pushing off towards north and east of 485, so that's 485 right here. There's University City that just saw impacts from this storm. This is where we'd be concerned, where we have rotation. So there's 24 as it exits out of Mecklenburg County and into Cabarrus County. There's the Charlotte Motor Speedway for perspective here. There's 601 and here's Georgeville. We all need to make sure, if I just named out your area, that you're on the innermost part of your home and on the lowermost part of your home. Alan, you are just on the southern fringe there of that tornado warning polygon as this continues to march off towards the east. Now I've got a set up here with some ETAs as well, because I want to zoom us out a little bit more. We not only have that area of rotation, but we have some very strong, if not damaging, wind gusts surrounding that area of rotation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this ETA for you and just track it a little bit to the south and east and give you some heads up. So, and this is something that we mentioned before, in setups like this, when you've got the leading edge, this line moving so quickly, this has been moving very quickly to the east and southeast, anywhere from about 45 and at times upwards of 60 miles per hour over the course of the afternoon and evening. You can get those spin ups along the leading edge. So either way, whether it's tornado or damaging wind gusts, here's some new and fresh ETAs for you. So if I name out your town name here, I've named this out pretty quick and pretty close to where this line of storms is, so you won't have much time to get in your shelter. So hopefully we already are there. Matthews, we got 537. Stallings by 541, Indian Trail 543, and now I'm going to push a little bit farther east than where we have the warnings in place, because my guess is that warning that's in place for Mecklenburg County is going to be extended into Union County. So heads up, Red Cross, you're looking at 547, Unionville by 549, New Salem by about 554. We have some really strong winds within this storm that continues to move through. Do we have another vantage point? Can we show that tower camera view one more time? I know its storm is going to continue to push farther and farther east and away from this vantage point, but we can at least get a look at the back edge of all of this. So this is the severe and tornado warned storm that continues to make progress into southern portions, and the area of concern anywhere where we have that rotation is going to be in far southwestern portions of Cabarrus County out towards Pioneer Mills. So Pioneer Mills over Morrison Road, seeing the worst of it. We have another live look for you as well. This is going to be in West Charlotte. This is just looking outside of our studio here at WBTV, and you can see those dark skies, the dark clouds there as this storm continues to work its way off towards the south and east. The leading edge is to the east of where we're showing you here at the station. We're on the west side of Uptown. However, I certainly still have some of those darker skies out there, and we're about to see another round of storms, and that's something to keep in mind. Let's take us back to radar here, and I want to show you what it looks like in terms of where the storms are and where the warnings are, because right now that's behind that tornado warned storm. But check this out, it's out ahead of our next severe warned storm that's about to move through. You'll notice we've got this batch of storms that was initially warned, and it's going to continue into Stanley County, which now has a severe thunderstorm warning in place for the entire county. You'll want to be paying attention to this for sure. But of course, we now have all of Mecklenburg County under this warning as these storms that are now pushing through Gastonia. If you're listening in from Mount Holly, from the Mountain Island Lake area, likely seeing some really heavy rainfall, lots of thunder and lightning and some gusty winds. These storms are about to move right over Uptown. So that view that we had a good vantage point here of this tornado warned storm, we're likely going to see very low visibility here in the next few minutes from our tower camera view as we track this heavy rain that's going to be pushing off towards the east. And in terms of when these warnings are in effect until, I'm going to pass things over to meteorologist Eric Garlick. I was seeing there on your screen, you may have switched over to velocity, but do you have any timetables here for us as we continue to track multiple severe thunderstorm warnings across the area?
Yeah, Rachel, lots of severe thunderstorm warnings, but those damage reports coming out of those severe thunderstorm warnings are worse than what we're seeing inside of those tornado warning boxes. So not seeing very pleasant weather anywhere, even if you're outside of these warning boxes. So tornado warning for Cabarrus County. This goes until 6 o'clock, and we're continuing to watch that area of rotation moving just across 485 and continuing to move that direction. But also Looking at a few other severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued, these are going to continue until 6:30 off to the north of us, Davidson, Forsyth, and that has a tornado possible associated with that severe thunderstorm warning. So there's different levels of severe thunderstorm warnings. You have your severe thunderstorm warning, you have your severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible, and taking a look at those severe thunderstorm warnings from there, considerable, destructive, those are kind of the types of severe thunderstorms warnings that we've been seeing. We've had destructive, considerable, tornado possible, and regular severe thunderstorm warnings all on the board. Let's take a look out across West Charlotte as those storms are moving in our general direction. Look at how fast those storms are moving. That windsock rated to stand out like that when we get those winds, I believe above 20 to 30 miles an hour. So dealing with some pretty strong winds moving through that area. New severe thunderstorm warning just coming out to us as well. This is going to be for Union County. This is going to be for that storm moving through central Mecklenburg County and moving off to the south and east. But winds up to 60 miles an hour associated with that one. And as we look back into tower cam, you can see the precip starting to pick up a little bit right where we are, and taking a look out across uptown, you can see that rain really starting to come down now as those storms continue to move off to the north and east. So very good image of that storm as it moved through, but a lot of damage reported. All right, so let's take a look at all of the warnings that we do have. I'm going to clear these warnings off, but you can see that line of storms from Greensboro, Lexington, Charlotte, all the way down toward Columbia, dealing with some very volatile weather as it moves off to the south and east. So I'm just going to throw up some velocity data, and as we've kind of been seeing with these storms, they do have kinks in them. Areas of inflow associated with these storms, and I'm just going to draw on here and kind of show you. We can go up the whole line and do this and just kind of pick these out. So we get little areas like this, and this is where we have inflow into the storms, picking up some of that rotation there just to the south and west of York. So potentially looking at a little bit of a couplet trying to develop there. We're going to follow this up to the north. We'll follow it through Mecklenburg County. Not a whole lot going on there, but little kinks. And then as we head to the main line where we do have that thunderstorm and tornado warning, Rachel, pretty good pocket of winds. Not seeing much in the way of couplet anymore, but very, very strong winds. Rachel?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you pointed out towards York County, that storm. Been keeping an eye on that, and it really does seem like it's starting to kink up a little bit. Even just looking at reflectivity here, you can see that inflow that Eric was just talking about. So here's your heads up. You have a severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for York down towards McConnell's. Chester County also included within a severe thunderstorm warning. 321, I-77, 21, all popular roads, especially this time in the evening. I would avoid them at this time because that just really does look a little concerning here. Right in between York, McConnell's, right along 321, could see some issues from this if it holds together. Let me zoom in street level just in case we end up seeing any issues from this. Out towards Hoodtown, seeing some impacts likely from strong winds. That's what we're seeing there with those pinks. When you see those brighter shades of pink, that's indicating the stronger wind potential, but also that potential for a brief tornado. So we're going to be watching that. It looks like we've got Burris Road out ahead of this. This is going to be traveling just to the north of 322, and this is in York County. We still have severe storms impacting and about to impact once again Mecklenburg County and portions of the Charlotte Metro. We've got our tower camera here at the studios, and there it is. This is what I was talking about just a few minutes ago, how those storms would be moving in and that visibility would tank, and here we go. We can barely make out uptown Charlotte, if at all. We've got some really heavy rain out there, and that's another reason why it's important. Look at all that lightning. Between the low visibility, not the time to go out and try to see these storms. Take shelter. We've got so many trees down across several counties. We've got thousands and thousands of customers without power at this time. Make sure your devices are charged up, and make sure that you're checking in on your friends and family, that they can hear some of that any of the warnings that may be issued. We've got other vantage points for you guys. This is another live look right now at Uptown. Looks like we've got emergency vehicle that's traveling out this way. If I'm correct, is this out towards I-277? Okay, so this is out towards I-277. Got confirmation on that. You can see, the visibility is going to be really low. It is going to be very difficult to see that car out ahead of you, especially as these storms move in. That rain is still filling into the Mecklenburg County area, so you may think it's okay at one point, and then all of a sudden you get caught up in a deluge. That's what we're going to have to watch out for here, where any of these storms are moving in, and then you've got the gusty winds in addition to that, and that's really going to make it hard. That rain is going to be coming down in sheets. So let's go ahead and take you back over to radar and show you. We just showed you the live views. We've got our tower camera view, and you can see the low visibility from above. Just showed you the view from I-277, so out towards the John Belk Freeway. And here's the view right now from reflectivity. So this is just showing you where the rain is and how heavy it's coming down. All of the lightning, so likely seeing some issues. We'll have to check in, get some of our crews here to check in on the Charlotte Douglas International Airport, delays, those types of things. And of course, uptown Charlotte now seeing some of that heavy rainfall as well. So pushing a little bit farther south, you can see out towards Myers Park, you're still dry right now. That's about to change. You've got Providence Road and out towards Independence Boulevard. Providence Road runs right here. There's 29, we've got Albemarle Road, and that's all going to be seeing some impacts from this here shortly at such a busy time of the evening. Right through the Charlotte Metro is where we're seeing that potential, not only for some heavy rainfall, but also some of those damaging wind gusts. We're seeing some heavy rain right now out to the east really of I-485 and east of Mint Hill. And we have that new warning as expected. That's that new severe thunderstorm warning for Union County. That makes sense. And now we have a new tornado warning as well. So this is going to be out towards Stanley County. Let me go ahead and flip this over for you guys and show you where we have this tornado warning that's in place. So Cabarrus County until 6 o'clock, it's 5:44, so about 15 minutes left on this warning for Cabarrus County, and then out towards Stanley County and Montgomery County. I know that's out east of us, just in case you have friends, I'll mention that. Stanley County, if you're listening in from the Albemarle area, down towards Norwood and Locust, you're now under a tornado warning for radar indicated rotation, and that's gonna go until 6:30. So if you just got a tornado warning and you got notified on your phone, on your First Alert Weather app, on your weather radio, make sure you're going to the innermost part of your home and the lowermost part of your home. I know that I see you looking at velocity there, Eric. What are you seeing on your end?
A big pocket of some strong winds right where that area of rotation was, and that is gonna let's just sample this and show you what kind of what we're looking at for wind speed. So that's pushing 70 miles an hour. That's going to be just to the south of Georgeville. That's going to be over 601, moving off to the east. Velocity at around 69 miles per hour. Now that is just one sample, but look what has happened with that. There's that area of rotation there on the bottom of your screen, right near Allen, just to the north and east. That area of rotation diminishing, but the pocket of winds is starting to increase. So one of the things I want to add about this, and let me zoom out of radar a little bit and kind of show you what I'm talking about. So there's the radar on the top left corner of your screen, and this is going to be this. I'm circling it. That's the radar. So watch what happens as these winds passed over the radar, getting a very good image of that area of circulation, that couplet moving over 85, moving over 485 right there just north of Mint Hill. That was why that tornado warning has been issued. But as we move further away from the radar, so right now we're about 20 miles or so away from that radar site, generally looking at 1,500 to 2,000 feet above the ground. So winds are typically stronger off the ground. So as this moves a little bit further from the radar, we're sampling a little bit higher into the atmosphere, and that's why those winds are picking up. So just because the pocket of winds didn't look too great back here per se, as it moved into the radar beam and where the radar was looking a little bit higher into the levels of the atmosphere, still 1,500 to 2,000 feet. Not high enough for us to say that this is not reaching the ground. So Locust is going to be dealing with some very, very strong winds moving through your area very quickly. So they did just drop that tornado warning for Cabarrus County, that area of circulation that I was just showing you. But this new tornado warning, this is going to go until 6:30, and let me throw data up on that. So new tornado warning for Montgomery and Stanley County, that's going to go until 6:30, and that's going to be for radar indicated tornado, but the wind is going to be very, very heavy as well. So you can see New London back toward Albemarle, that leading edge of those winds heading in your direction. This whole storm is moving 45 to 50 miles per hour. So just with storm motion alone, going to be producing those winds 40 to 50 miles an hour, and some very, very strong wind associated as well. And we can follow this back down into York and Lancaster County as well, dealing with some of those very strong winds as well. So Rachel, let's get an update from you. What are you seeing? Anything different? I've been kind of honed in on the Charlotte area. What have you been looking at?
Yeah, just wanted to reset and get you caught up. If you were just now tuning in, we are getting closer and closer to the 6 o'clock hour, and we've been live on air since right as that first tornado warning got issued right around 5 o'clock. And we still have several severe thunderstorm warnings, a tornado warning, tornado watches, severe thunderstorm watches. It is a very active night tonight. So we want to get you caught up if you're just now tuning in. So I've got it zoomed out a little bit so you can see everything that's going on. Now this storm in particular, this segment of the storms that continues to work east, you can see such strong winds with this heavy rainfall, and then of course all of that thunder and lightning, and that's where we still have that tornado potential as well. Here's where we have those active warnings here on the screen. You can see them out towards Rowan County, traveling down into portions of Stanley and Cabarrus County, and of course that's where we have in Stanley County that newly issued tornado warning. Traveling a little bit farther south out towards Mecklenburg County and Union County under a severe thunderstorm warning, damaging wind gusts likely, tree damage, power line damage. That's the type of damage that we can anticipate because we have already seen these storms produce a lot of damage to the north and west in the same way. These are the storms that Eric was just talking about, York and Chester counties and the northwestern sliver of Lancaster County still included. So what can we expect going forward from here? If you're listening in from Anson County, Richmond County, Chesterfield County, anticipate impacts from these storms, and I would go ahead and just make sure that you can hear and respond to any warnings that may come out, because this line is going to continue to work in your direction. The entire area has either a tornado watch in effect that's along and north of I-40. This does include the I-77 corridor. That's going to go until 9 o'clock. Now, of course, that threat continues to march eastward, so as the night wears on, we'll continue to see some of these counties eventually, slowly but surely, get dropped from some of these watches for us. But also our southeastern counties now all included within this severe thunderstorm watch that's going to go until about midnight. I would likely imagine that some of our counties get out of that, though, earlier. So there's where we have that active tornado warning in place. Albemarle, if you haven't already, seek shelter at this time. If you live along 52, the leading edge of these storms, whether that's producing a tornado or damaging wind gusts, that's about to push over 52, and it's going to be very difficult to get out on the roadways. Travel is not advised. This is eventually going to run into 220 and out towards I-73. We're still tracking storms right now through Charlotte. If you're listening in from Charlotte, you got warnings that came in through your phone or your weather radio, and we have severe thunderstorm warnings capable of producing damage. And this is the second round of storms. That first round is moved off towards the east, and now we have additional storms pushing right over where we've already had reports of trees down and power lines down. Some cases, active power lines across roadways, not only in Mecklenburg County, we've seen that off towards the north and west as well. So zooming in just in terms of where the heaviest of rainfall is right now, that's going to be out towards Noda, Plaza Midwood, traveling up towards Derrida, right along I-85 and 29, Owen Boulevard, Plaza Road is going to see some impacts as well from some of this very heavy rain that we continue to track. And of course, this is also producing strong winds, whether that's going straight or in a circle. So Eric, I see you working on velocity there, and I'm seeing so many bright shades of pink. I may pass things over to you just to get a sense of where the strongest of the winds are at this time.
Yeah, Rachel, really right where that tornado warning is where that biggest and strongest pocket of wind is showing up on velocity data and just to the south of Locust as well. So as we follow this a little bit further to the north, you can see right over Albemarle, right along 52, that pocket of bright pink, and we can sample radar and we'll show you just how strong these winds are. And this is why we have a severe thunderstorm warning with the considerable tag on it. And what that means for you at home, if you ever see the threat level, considerable and destructive, are things that you don't want to see when you're talking about severe weather moving through your area, and that's exactly what we're dealing with. As far as the tornado threat goes, we get a pretty good image of exactly what's going on with our terminal Doppler radar that we're looking at. And as I take a look at that tornado warning and Let me just pan back just a little bit. You can see not much showing up in terms of a couplet or anything that catches my attention with this particular storm, but this is moving off to the east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Going to be moving through Troy here at about 6:08, Seven Lakes at 6:32, and that is going to hold together. This air out in front of this storm has nothing really stopping it. It's very humid, it's very hot, a lot of fuel for these thunderstorms as we had heat index values up into the triple digits in this area as well. So you're watching WBTV at 6 right now, and this is going to continue as we head through the rest of the evening. So just going to jump back down on velocity data, and we'll show you what's going on in South Carolina as well. Severe thunderstorm warnings, but no tornado warnings in this area. So that's going to mean these storms don't have as much of a threat producing some isolated spin-up tornadoes. And if you look very closely, and I'll kind of draw this on here, and this little line right here known as a gust front, and when that is outrunning the storms and the precipitation, that helps lower the tornado threat considerably. It means that the winds are all moving in the same direction as that storm comes through, and really helps eliminate those spin-up tornado threats. But as we move off to the north, we'll just follow this velocity line up here, up really even toward Chester and areas north up toward Rock Hill. You can see how velocity data is showing the reds and greens next to each other. Right about there, that's the storm that I pointed out earlier, moving through York, showing some signs of rotation, about to cross 77 right now, moving through the Rock Hill area, and then we'll follow the leading edge up to the north and east as well. So as we move into Locust and Albemarle, that's really the most significant winds that I'm seeing showing up, but a lot of activity going on, and you can see all the watches and warnings right now from Greensboro all the way back toward Atlanta, with one tornado warning right now, and that's in our area, and that does include Albemarle. So we're keeping a close eye on this as these storms continue to move off to the east and potentially spin up another tornado, particularly in this area right over Albemarle right now. Jamie, Molly, we'll send it over to you guys for an update.
All right, Eric and Rachel will let you catch your breath for just a moment. I want to show you some live pictures right now. This is Interstate 77. This is heading north of the Uptown. A few minutes ago, Rachel showed you 277 as they were coming out. Still a lot of traffic. Rush hour coming up on 6 o'clock. A lot of people trying to get home. So obviously not great timing for this kind of storm, but it is a slow go tonight, as it should be. As we were pointing out, we've seen a lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of lightning with these storms, and not to be messed with. So it's going to be a slow ride home for a lot of people tonight.
And you look at the sky there, Jamie, it's so gray. 5:55 p.m. It is not usually this dark, as you guys know, and these brake lights look like it might normally be at what it looks like at 8 o'clock or 8:30 at this time of summer. But no, it is not even yet 6 o'clock. It is gray. It is obviously tons of rain. The tornado warning still issued for Stanley County until 6:30, but the severe thunderstorm warnings for much of the area are very serious as well. So do not think that it is all free and clear if you're not in the tornado warning. Let's go to Lake Norman if we can, Jamie. We had seen some live pictures of the boats there, and the sky now, little good news here, guys, looks better. When we checked in on this, 25-30 minutes ago, it was very dark. The boats were rocking, and this looks like it is a lot more hopeful as the sky, and just more peaceful evening here on Lake Norman. These, again, are live pictures at the marina.
One thing I will caution you about, you may see some power outages, though, as you get home here tonight. We're also watching these kinds of scenes. See some debris there on the side of the road? Our David Wisnett captured this image. This was a crash that happened during the storm. This was taken on I-40 East near mile marker 127. No confirmation right now on reported injuries, but obviously a slow go in this area as well. And again, power outages being reported across our viewing area tonight. Some 15,000 between uptown Charlotte and, say, the Mooresville area. You get up towards Statesville, another 16,000. The Hickory area, Newton Conover, another 13,000. So you get the idea. A lot of people could be getting home to no power inside their home.
It might be a long evening ahead and overnight. And of course, we're not the only ones seeing the impacts of the storm. The road is not the only place. The skies as well. As you might expect, a ton of delays and big time cancellations as well. This is from FlightAware for Charlotte Douglas International. Nearly 500 flights have been delayed. 85 have been canceled. They were keeping flights coming into Charlotte grounded. We called the airport, our newsroom did, and they said that all the flights coming into Charlotte were not coming. We're going to be grounded until 6:45 p.m. So if you're expecting anyone to come into Charlotte tonight, you are definitely going to be under delay, and we hope not a cancellation. But here are the numbers as of right now, 5:57 p.m., Jamie.
Live picture from right outside of our studios here. This is West Charlotte right now, and you can see some heavy rain has been coming down. You may not hear it on our microphones, but we hear the thunder overhead. So part of this storm cell is moving right over our area as well. A few moments ago, we noticed the windsock there in the distance. It was standing a little straighter a few minutes ago. Not quite as windy at the moment, but you can see those winds have shifted around a bit as well. So again, it's going to be a very slow ride home for so many people here tonight. But this is how it looks right now from the ground, a little higher up.
Yeah, you can't see the skyline.
No.
The Charlotte buildings, Uptown's beautiful skyline, it's behind that thick cloud of rain and all the drops you see on the top of the tower cam. It is a nasty night out there, and I want to emphasize this again. We keep saying this. The severe thunderstorm warnings are severe. They are serious warnings to take. Seriously, if you're just not in the tornado warning, you think I'm in the clear, I should head out now, I'm okay. That is not necessarily the case. Some of the accidents you're seeing, people skidding across the roads, those happen with just severe thunderstorm and the wind and the rain that you see here. You cannot see in front of you, and the lightning from these live pictures are lighting up the sky. It is constant. What was it? Hundreds and hundreds of lightning strikes within a 15-minute window that Eric Garlick was tracking.
800.
Just 800 lightning strikes within a 15-minute window that he was tracking about 30 minutes ago for the area. So it is a severe thunderstorm warning that you must take seriously, and don't head out if you don't need to. I actually texted my husband, who was supposed to head out from Charlotte to go up to Concord, and said, please stay home.
Yeah,
We're telling people to stay home. Please listen to your wife.
Yeah, ride this out. You mentioned those lightning, and we are seeing some reports of damage as a result of some of that lightning, as well as the winds. I was just looking here at the Conover Fire Department's Twitter feed. X feed, I guess it's called these days. But just in the last 30 minutes or so, let me just read a couple of these. Responding to a tree on fire on 5th Avenue Northeast, a tree onto a house, 13th Avenue Southeast. Power lines down, 200 block of Lap Road Northeast. And one more here, responding to a tree on fire, 100 Parlier Avenue Northeast. That's just in the last 30 to 40 minutes or so that they've seen it in just one community in Conover.
It's exactly right. And first responders. And what does that make you think about the people that are out there trying to make sure that we're okay? Please give grace to them, be kind to them, and thank all of you who are heading out, because you're hearing of trees on homes, and you're hearing of people stranded, and you're hearing of accidents. Thank you to all of you, and your Twitter feeds, your X feeds, are really responding to a lot of different things, along with these power outages.
And it's going to take a while to get those power lights back on in several of our communities. Obviously, right now, we got to get these storms through. That's the first thing before Duke Energy customers or crews can get back out to get those customers out of the dark right now. But again, they're working as best they can in those places that they can. So we'll let you know what happens, certainly both on air and online on WBTV.com.
Let's go back, if we can, to Storm 3. Our Nikki Hauser has been in Storm 3. No, we're not going to be able to get to Storm 3, but Rachel Coulter obviously tracking the storms. You said this, Rachel. We came on right at 5 o'clock, and a minute into our 5 o'clock show, the first tornado warning issued. You were on air like that. You're still on air. Tell us what we have now 1 hour later.
That's right. I know it's been an hour, and our first alert weather day continues, and this is why that first alert weather day was issued. Look how busy radar is right now. You can see the tornado watch, the severe thunderstorm watch, and all of the active warnings that continue in place. And this segment of these storms, the strongest out of all, you can see that just lightning is a good indicator of how intense a storm is, and we have a lot of lightning that continues to work east, particularly with that tornado warned storm that is impacting Stanley County. So that's where we have those warnings in place. Mecklenburg County still has a warning in place. Union and now Anson and northwestern portions of Richmond counties. As expected, these storms continue to push off towards the south and east, and those impacts will continue. Now, right along the I-77 corridor and east into portions of York, Chester, and Lancaster counties, severe thunderstorm warnings also possible. What are these warnings capable of? Whether you have a yellow or a red polygon overhead, tree damage, power lines down, could impact the roadways, could impact your home. So this is why we advise staying away from any windows if you can. Watches will continue for the entire area until we can get these storms to push through. And here's why we have watches in place, and we had these storms warned as they continue to march south and east. Look at all of the reports that come in, and I would imagine this is about half of the reports that have come in so far. It's going to take a lot of time to get an idea of just how many trees are down across several counties, and you can see that's the storm that just is still tornado warned as it continues out towards Stanley County. So there's over 33 reports there, most of them being severe thunderstorm wind damage, and then of course hail, one report there. So where we have the most lightning, where we have the strongest winds right now, that's going to be in Stanley County, where this tornado warning remains in place. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. Right now, this is looking like a wind threat, even a straight line wind threat right over 52. I hope everyone in Albemarle is taking shelter at this time. 52 West Main Street out towards 24, where you're seeing not only the brighter shades of pink, but even yellow, over 80-mile-per-hour wind gust, at least being picked up right overhead from our radar beam. That's going to be traveling right over East Main Street. We're going to want to make sure we are taking shelter at this time down towards Groves Avenue. We'll zoom it in even a little bit closer for you if I can, and push in a little bit closer out towards Leonard Avenue. Looks like we've got Hinson Street as well. So we've got some very strong winds that are moving through that tornado warned storm. It's still possible that we get a spin up out of that and that a tornado is produced from that storm. That's why that tornado warning continues. We don't have spotter confirmation on that, just as radar indicated rotation at this time. But either way, all of these warnings, whether severe or tornado warning, need to be taken seriously. We've got some pockets of yellow here in portions of Union County and now northwestern portions of Anson County. And this is an area just about a couple of weeks ago, if you remember, on Sunday, just along and east of 601 out towards Unionville, we had a lot of wind damage reports from a storm. So this area has already seen wind damage from storms a couple of weeks ago, likely seeing that once again right now. So 218 down towards 200, heads up New Salem, down towards Watson, Hamilton Crossroads, going to be seeing some impacts from this here shortly. There's a lot of areas that are seeing some of the winds at this point, and I'm going to zoom us back out just a little bit and give you another perspective of some of the winds that we're seeing right now, a little bit farther off towards the south. And it doesn't look like we have any rotation in this area, but certainly some gusty wind potential right over the Ogden community, and that would be working off towards the east, a little bit closer to I-77. And when this rain is coming down and then you add in the winds, that's going to make visibility so low. It's going to be hard to hold on to certainly the wheel as well. It's going to be super important that we stay off the roadways. 52 as an example, 74 as an example. Looks like they just trimmed back that warning a little bit. So this now just includes 52 and then traveling out towards the eastern portions of Stanley County. Let me push this back out just a little bit. I want to read from the National Weather Service and get a better idea. Just to double check my work here, that this was indeed due to a radar indicated rotation and not a spotter confirmation or anything like that. And as I'm doing that, I'm looking here at these reports, and there is just a long list of reports from Mecklenburg County right now. Trees falling down on cars, power lines down. Yeah, there's several here. We've got trees falling on homes as well. So we're going to send some of these along to our team. And if we want to have one of the producers or one of our teammates come back here, I can show you this back behind the scenes as well. But we've got a lot of about 7 reports of trees on homes and 2 reports of trees on the cars as well. So very, very busy out that way. Let me double check here with the National Weather Service with that latest warning issuance. But it should just be that we've got that radar indicated rotation either way, very strong winds. And I'm looking here at the map, and it looks like over 100,000 customers just within our general vicinity in our area of customers without power. So this is just continues to be an intense line of storms that continues to work off towards the east. And we've already seen impacts in the mountains. You saw the impacts first, and eventually the foothills out towards Caldwell County and Burke County. That's when those storm reports really started to come in, that we were seeing some wind damage. Then eventually Catawba County and Alexander County, those winds were really picking up along I-40. This is the same portion of storms that just brought impacts y'all's way, moved over Lake Norman, ended up getting that tornado warning, and now we still have that tornado warning as this continues off towards the east. So just a heads up, if you've got friends or family out towards Raleigh, if you travel and through towards Fayetteville, Raleigh along I-40, or even out towards I-95, this is going to be an issue as the night wears on. This severe thunderstorm watch that you see out this way is going to go until midnight. So these storms are going to be an issue for a long time as you continue through the Carolinas. And here at home, we're still going to have some issues here for the next couple of hours or so until we can finally get the leading edge of the storms to move off towards the east. I'm joined by meteorologist Eric Garlick. Eric Garlick's been looking at things behind the scenes as well. Eric, do you have any updates to pass along for me?
Yeah, Rachel, just doing a little bit of radar analysis behind the scenes, and in particular where that tornado warning is happening, and right over Albemarle. I want to focus on this and kind of take you back in time and show you exactly what we're seeing here. So you can see right over Bloomington, you can see those winds start to pick up, little area of rotation starting to form. So this could be an embedded supercell and causing that tornado warning in that area of rotation. And kind of what I'm seeing here, it looks like, and Rachel, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like it could be some RFD or rear flank downdraft winds from that area of rotation spinning up and then just kind of collapsing as that RFD came down right over Albemarle. And you can see some of those really dark pinks, and I'll pick one of these out and show you kind of what we were talking about. Rachel mentioned the word 85 miles per hour, and that's what our velocity is pinging with those storms as they move through the Albemarle area. And we are getting a ton of storm damage reports from this. A lot of trees down. It's almost too many to count at this point, and we're going to continue to see those reports coming in as those storms continue to move off to the east, moving very quickly as well. Still looking at some embedded pockets of those stronger winds, maybe not quite as high as that 85, but take a look at this. I mean, winds gusting up to 70 miles an hour will be possible with these storms as they continue to move off to the east. So we're going to continue to see that severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning for these areas. I think the area of circulation that we're focusing on with that tornado warning has been coming down a little bit, but as we've mentioned over and over again, there's so many damage reports coming out of areas that weren't included in tornado warnings. You know, it's going to be a long night of cleanup for a lot of folks, and we're not done with this yet. This line stretches all the way back down toward Wadesboro, and those pockets of winds are going to continue to move in that direction. So these storms have a history of doing a lot of damage. We've been on your side all day long, bringing you the first alert. The first alert weather day was issued, and for this exact reason, and that's what we're seeing right now. Look at these storms popping up out ahead of the line, and that when we see that happen, as we get the main line moving through, we get these storms out ahead of them. When they interact, they can cause a little bit of enhanced circulation, and the potential for a brief spin-up tornado when that happens does exist there as well. So we're not in the clear yet, but a lot of us are in the clear. Taking a look back down the line a little bit, you can see a lot of the area west of 77, not seeing any more of those warnings popping up, an indication that we are going to be wrapping up our severe weather threat for Boone back towards Statesville and down towards Charlotte as well. But still one tornado warning. This goes until 6:30, and that's going to be for that area of rotation that we were just talking about, producing those very strong winds not too long ago. So those damage reports are going to be coming in. I would imagine a lot of them near Albemarle, and you can see that area of rotation there as those colors really start to peak just over the Albemarle area, and still pinging some pretty strong winds just to the north and east of Norwood, back toward Troy as well, Ansonville, all the way down toward Wadesboro, Monroe, New Salem, all of those areas, looking at some very strong winds to move through that area as well. So got a little bit of time to go with these warnings, but we are starting to see some people get the all clear at least. Rachel, we'll send it back over to you.
Sure thing. Just checking back in with the National Weather Service, getting more and more reports out and more mentions of some structural damage out towards the Alexander County Fairgrounds. And I'm seeing some of the pictures that have been sent in, and these damage pictures are impressive. I'm going to pass these along to the team as well. Looks like we do have a damage and injury report coming in out of Charlotte by a tree falling through a home. So, you know, I'm seeing this more and more, and as we continue to track the leading edge of this, let me go ahead and save this real quick, and we're going to move this. Bear with me as I get my scenes together here, because I want to show you a couple of things. So I'm going to show you the leading edge of these storms, and these are generally moving about 45, 50 miles per hour off towards the east and southeast. So let's give some heads up, even outside of where we have these severe thunderstorm warnings, where we have the leading edge of these storms moving through. Lancaster 624, Traysville 632, Rockingham 650, Chesterfield 656, Silver Hill 709, Laurinburg about 718, and that's the leading edge much of the strongest winds. You're still going to have some thunder and lightning, rain that follows behind this as well. But where do we go? And I'm going to say tornado safety, but also severe thunderstorm warning safety. I mentioned this before. I think it's going to be a good call to mention this again. If you have a severe thunderstorm warning in place, most of our area does, especially at the leading edge of this line anyway, I would make sure that you are in the innermost part of your home. So that's going to be a bathroom, that's going to be a hall. If you have a stairwell in the innermost part of your home, the lowermost part of your home, that's going to be a good call, or maybe an interior closet. I would stay away from a garage, from any bedroom or kitchen or living room that's on the outer portion of your home, and stay away from any windows. If you've got a basement, that's going to be the best idea. If you have a storm shelter, that's going to be the best call. I know a lot of people don't, and that's okay. I would just make sure you're away from windows. That would be your main thing. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, because trees are coming down, power lines are coming down. These storms are so impressive. And again, this leading edge of storms continues to march off towards the south and east. So Monroe's going to be seeing impacts, Anson County, Richmond County, Chesterfield, Lancaster counties, and still bringing impacts to portions of Cabarrus County, Stanley counties, Mecklenburg, Union, down towards Lancaster, York, and Chester. So that's where we still have the storms that are now pushing along and east of I-77 and along and east of I-85. So it's still a busy night out there, still seeing lots of thunder and lightning within these storms as well. Let's go ahead and zoom back in to that storm that is tornado warned. We have several severe thunderstorm warnings in effect as of 6:13, and then we have this tornado warning that remains in effect for central and eastern portions of Stanley County over 24, 52, 740, and 73, River Haven. These are all areas, Albemarle, and now pushing out towards Liberty Hill. So the strongest winds within this storm continue to march eastward and are going to be exiting our area here shortly. But anywhere you see these brighter shades of pink, Locust down towards Hamilton Crossroads, Norwood, Indian Trail, Marshville. I mean, this is going to be some really strong winds out there, and just looping this over time, you can see how this has pushed through portions of Mecklenburg County, caused all of that damage I just read out, and continues to push off towards the south. Let's get another check on all of the warnings that we have in effect at this time. And just in case you're just now tuning in, or if you have some friends and family that live in these areas, no longer under a warning in portions of Rowan and Cabarrus County, now no longer under any severe thunderstorm warning at this time. Northern Mecklenburg County has been cut from any warnings. Iredell County and points westward, you are no longer included in warnings. It is now mainly along and east of I-77 and south and east of I-85 where our issues continue. And again, southeastern portions of Lancaster County out towards Chesterfield County and the eastern segment of Richmond County. I would anticipate that by the time this is all said and done, you're going to see those warnings expanded into your area. I'm going to grab another radar here and just get another vantage point. You can see some of that heavy rainfall that's impacting those areas already out ahead of that leading edge. So Peachland out towards Wadesboro, all seeing some impacts. And you can even see out towards Matthews and Indian Trail, you're still seeing some really heavy rainfall, a lot of thunder and lightning in these areas. Weddington, it's going to bring impacts to Waxhaw. It's going to be traveling along 74. Your visibility is going to be very, very low at times, certainly with all of that heavy rainfall, but also that potential for frequent thunder and lightning. And in Stanley County, we're still seeing those impacts. So I know you've got a couple of the warning polygons out there. I'm going to toss things over to Eric just to kind of reset us. How long are these warnings in effect for? And of course, what are we looking at here as we continue into the rest of the evening now that we're approaching 6:15?
Yeah, Rachel, a really active evening, really active afternoon. We had that risk for severe weather as we went through the day, and we've been talking about it, really since last week, and really unfortunately seeing these storms verify and a lot of damage being done. Just trying to keep up with the damage reports and storm reports in our National Weather Service chat. A lot of damage, and getting reports of trees on houses and things of that nature. So resetting again, Charlotte area, really west of 77 in North Carolina, things are improving, and we're going to see our primarily severe weather east of 77 from this point on. But taking a look at those warnings, we do have a few of them. Still looking at this severe thunderstorm warning for Union County. That goes until 6:30. One issued for Wadesboro. That's going to go, let's pan over here. It's hard to keep track of all of these warnings. That goes until 6:30 as well. So that's for Anson, Montgomery, and Stanley County. And tornado possible tag with that. And then that tornado warning in Montgomery in Stanley County. That goes until 6:30 as well. But that is primarily moving into Montgomery County at this point. So let's take a look at velocity data and show you what we were looking at with that area of rotation as that moved off to the east as the evening went on. So taking a look at that wind speed, there it is starting to show up there. Still showing a little area of circulation right over Albemarle right now. And another good thing about having all of these radars is you can switch and kind of get different vantage points. So as we switch back to terminal Doppler radar, you can see that area of circulation that was issued for that warning has moved off to the east, but potentially another area with an area of circulation right on the leading edge of that as well. So that is an area that we are very concerned with right now, with those winds up to 70 miles an hour and even pinging 80, 85 miles an hour as that went through the Albemarle area. But a lot of damage coming in, and the National Weather Service doing a good job with these warnings and getting that information out. But this line of storms stretching now through 73. Back toward Wadesboro, Monroe, Chesterfield, Lancaster. You guys haven't had much in the way of these storms yet, but those storms are going to continue to move in your direction. Now, they are probably going to continue to be pretty strong. A lot of heat, a lot of humidity, a lot of moisture, a lot of fuel for these storms, as well as some upper level dynamics going on with this system is going to keep those thunderstorm chances pretty high for Lancaster, Chesterfield as those storms move off to the east. So these warnings are going to continue until 6:30. Again, looking at the velocity data and just kind of looking at radar, showing pockets of rotation right along the leading edge as that moves toward Troy. So that is an area that we are going to continue to watch for some of the strongest winds and areas of rotation at this point. Jamie and Molly, let's send it over to you guys for a little bit of an update.
Yeah, Eric Garlick and Rachel Coulter are doing a great job talking us and walking us through all of this. So we've got pictures and video now to show you from across the area. This is a tree that tore down power lines in Morganton, a huge tree, tons of branches. And again, look at these power lines down to the ground. That's a dangerous area. It does look like they've already been roped off. And this is in Burke County. So we've got power lines down in multiple areas. Here's a visual of what that looks like in Morganton.
And we've also heard some examples of those lines coming down while live. So they're sparking, they're causing fires. Keep that in mind if for some reason you are out tonight, which you probably just shouldn't be until all this is cleared up. But again, keep that in mind. Those power lines could still be active tonight. I'll show you some other storm damage. We can show you, this is from Hickory right now. You can see a large tree on top of a house. The strong, there it is right there. Ooh. That is a big tree on top of a house underneath there. We don't have any reports of injuries or anything like that, but obviously, again, giving you an idea of the strength of these storms and what we have been dealing with today. Again, winds upwards of 70 miles per hour have been roaring through the area from Morganton on down to Catawba County, and then obviously into Iredell, Lincoln, Mecklenburg. Yes. And now Rowan, and then over into Stanley County. So we have been, everybody being touched by this, certainly north of uptown Charlotte.
Yeah, and 10 more minutes for the tornado warning in Stanley and Montgomery counties. Okay, we're going to take a picture now from, take a look at a picture from Bill Southers. Man. This is on his back porch. Look at this. Look at this strike of lightning. This is in Maiden, North Carolina, obviously Catawba County. The sky is pink almost, and the lightning coming down from that cloud. We're zooming in on the lightning, but also just to see the size of it compared to the neighborhood, the homes, the tops of the trees. That is an impressive photo, and that is a dangerous looking storm above that home.
And that aligns again with what we've been hearing from some of the first responders here, is that they're also responding to fires. We have this many lightning strikes. What was it, 800?
815 minutes.
Yeah, in a very short period of time. So we have been swarmed with lightning today, these high winds, the heavy rain at times as well. So it's been obviously a very dangerous situation across our viewing area today. First Alert Weather Team put a First Alert Weather Day up for this very reason over your weekend, so you knew today was coming and you would be prepared. They told us get ready between 5 and say 7 o'clock, certainly here in the Charlotte area, and on cue here they are.
And here it is, right on cue, and commuting hours, so it's certainly a dangerous time to be out there with all these storms. Rachel Coulter, I know you've been tracking the latest, you've been watching this radar. It should be 6:21 right now if there's no more tornado warnings. 9 minutes left for Stanley and Montgomery counties.
That's right, and y'all mentioned it, this is right around commute time, and I wanted to show you what all of these storms have done in terms of road conditions across the area. Notice up towards Iredell County, the right lane is blocked due to debris on road we're likely seeing this in several locations, but that's going to be on I-77 southbound out towards exit 45, so Amity Hill Road. So just wanted to point that along to you. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. That blue that you're seeing, that's ponding on roadways. So in addition to that heavy rainfall out on the roads, you're going to have to be really cautious if you are getting outside. Of course, we advise this point, Jamie mentioned it, there's just so many trees down and power lines down, live power lines down. It's going to be a good call to avoid travel if you can. But look at all of the accidents and all of the slowdowns that we're seeing on some of these area interstates, I-77, 85, and of course down towards 485 and on the south side there of Charlotte, I-77, seeing some big time issues as well as this leading edge of this rain and storms continues to work towards the east. Looks like we have a new warning that's now in place, and this is from the same storms that caused all of this damage. We're getting more and more of these reports that are actually coming into our system. This is just over the last 12 hours, really just over the past few hours. We've been tracking these storms that finally moved into our area and our mountain communities right around 3 o'clock this afternoon. So within 3 hours, these are the storm reports that are coming in. Let's zoom in closer out towards Mooresville. Several reports where that initial tornado warning was issued. We were tracking that tornado warned storm, that area of rotation, as it worked over Mooresville, over I-77 and off towards the east. Also seeing some reports of damage along 52 in Albemarle. We were just showing you the winds within that storm. Cabarrus County, Mecklenburg County, lots of reports now coming in from Mecklenburg County from these storms that are now working east of Stanley County. So the segment of storms that's the most concern that certainly that tornado warning is issued for is now exiting Stanley County, but we still do have some gusty winds that are impacting that area. But the leading edge and where that biggest concern is going to be east of Liberty Hill at this time. And we're still seeing some really strong wind gusts as you travel out towards portions of Union County and into Anson County along 52, a little bit farther south on 52, south of Albemarle. Now we're talking about Union County and north of Wadesboro, right along 74. I would imagine visibility is very low. It's going to be difficult to certainly keep that car going straight if you're driving on 74 in between Wadesboro and out towards Polkton. So we're still tracking these showers and storms as they make progress off towards the east. Let me zoom out just a little bit more for you guys and show you what we're seeing a little bit farther off towards the south as we continue to track these showers and these storms that are making quite the impact across the area. Let's go ahead and push this farther south. Bear with me for just a second here. I want to check in on these storms that continue to make their way through portions of Chester and Lancaster counties. You can see that heavy rainfall that continues now to move closer and closer to 521. So really from the northern edge of Lancaster counties, you travel south out of Mecklenburg County and continue to make your way south towards Lancaster. There's a little gap there where you're dry for now, but that's going to be short-lived. You're going to have some really heavy downpours here and low visibility out on the roadways here shortly. And then eventually this is all going to be making its way off towards the east, and Wadesboro still seeing some impacts from all of this. Ellerbe, notice Rockingham, so Richmond County now included within that new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. So really the only county that we haven't seen a severe thunderstorm warning locally just yet, that's going to go for Chesterfield County. Other than that, pretty much every single county that we have within our area has seen some sort of warning over the course of the afternoon and evening so far as these storms continue to march towards the east. So if you're listening in from Charlotte right now, we had a lot of activity move through. It's much calmer, still seeing some rain fill in inside and outside of 485 as you travel along I-77, but where the most concerning winds are, where most of that lightning is at this point, is now off towards the south and east. What we're going to be running into, and Jamie and Molly did a good job pointing this out, we've already seen so much damage that even as the leading edge of the storms moves out, the issues aren't over just yet. Give time to those safety and responders that are out there and trying to clean up the trees, trying to clean up those power lines in a safe manner, because there are so many that are coming in reported across the area. And I was just talking about how Chesterfield County, the only county without a warning so far, there's your warning. So we got a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for western portions there of Chesterfield County. Eric, I see you working behind the scenes there on that warning. What are the details on that?
Yeah, Rachel, that new warning is going to be for Chesterfield and Lancaster counties. That goes until 7:30. That's going to be radar indicated severe storms moving through the area. So as we mentioned, these storms are moving off to the east. Not much going to stop them. They're going to continue to move into air that is favorable for them to continue to develop as they move off to the east. But let's throw some velocity data on here and try to get a good idea of what those winds are doing. And we're going to have to ping back and forth a little bit to get some of those winds. yeah, some pretty strong winds moving right through that area. And I'm not surprised based on the history of these storms and what they've done so far. You know, getting reports, emergency management reporting 22,000 people in Mecklenburg County without power. These storms are continuing to move right toward the Wadesboro area. And if we stretch that line all the way back down toward Jefferson, Tradesville, those areas dealing with some of these strong winds at this point. Thankfully, these storms are moving very quickly. They're dumping a lot of rain, but that's kind of helping limit that severe flooding threat as well. So still dealing with tornado watch and severe thunderstorm watch for all of those areas. Red until 9 o'clock for the tornado watch areas, in yellow in Charlotte down toward Columbia until 9 o'clock. Areas to the east further toward Raleigh and Wilmington underneath that severe thunderstorm warning watch, severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. So still a lot going on. Still a lot of severe weather to get through, and these damage reports are coming in quite often, and they're pretty significant damages. As you can imagine, a lot of those trees that are coming down, they have to go somewhere, and they're falling on some trees, even some vehicles, and dealing with a lot of lightning as well. Unfortunately, getting some reports that someone in South Carolina may have been hit by lightning. Need to verify that, but that is a report in the National Weather Service chat. So outside of the wind, outside of the tornado threat, and the possibility for severe weather as well, we're going to continue to watch that new severe thunderstorm watch and new severe thunderstorm warning and new tornado warning coming in as well. So tracking these storms as they continue to move off to the east. We're going to be with this as we go through the next minute and a half or so. Rachel, you've kind of seen the damage reports that I've been looking at. I mean, 25, 50, maybe even 100 damage reports.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know that I've seen this many come in with a line of storms like this, just how they've had to, and all of the emergency managers have had to list all of them out as they have. It's almost impossible to try to get them out to you guys as soon as possible. And I would imagine that more and more are going to be coming in here as people assess the damage. These storms are still moving through. So if you're listening in from some of those spots that Eric was just talking about, Chesterfield County, Lancaster County, Anson and Richmond counties, you can see the damage that these storms have done. So here's your heads up that this is what you can anticipate in your area as well. Trees down, power lines down, and this is why we advise just get as far in and as far low as you can within a sturdy building to make sure we can avoid injuries with some of the trees that are coming down with all of this.
Winding up here on the last minute of these tornado warnings for Montgomery and Stanley County, and you're saying just be aware that severe thunderstorm warnings are very, very serious tonight with these types of storms.
If not more serious.
Absolutely.
Based on the damage that we're seeing, some winds peaking 85 miles an hour, what radar estimating 1,500, 2,000 feet off the ground. That's definitely capable of doing the damage.
Yeah,
of
I guess
tornado.
the Weather Service will determine if there's a tornado or not, but it doesn't matter at this point because the winds are strong enough. They're doing many things damage-wise to our community here tonight, so keep that in mind. There's going to be signals out in perhaps many communities tonight, even tomorrow morning. Power is going to take a while to get back on, so you just have to be very careful anywhere you travel in the next 24 hours or so.
So we're going to wrap up here for the 6 o'clock news. If we need to come back on air, we certainly will. So keep it here, keep the app, keep WBTV.com. Jamie has a 7 o'clock show. We'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock. And if we need to cut into programming before that, we will.
Appreciate you being here. CBS Evening News is next.